ask you just a couple more questions about publishing in general. We were about to run out of time here. So, I mean, could you take just a moment and speak to students who hope to pursue some kind of career in publishing, give them some kind of realistic idea about what they're in for, young people in general?
Um, well, I mean, it depends, of course, on the kind of publishing that you're interested in. I think that the thing to say about corporate book publishing in New York is um, you have to have a completely unmitigated passion, tenacity, relentlessness. You have to really want it to be your life. If you want to think about work-life balance, being a book editor is not for you because you will go and you'll do all the business of the job during the day, all the other pieces that we were talking about in the earlier question, and then a lot of your reading and editing happens on the evenings and the weekends. So it's pretty much a 24/7 kind of job. So first you have to be aware of that. And then you also have to be able to be comfortable with a certain amount of volatility because the industry itself is profitable, but it changes so much as there's a new publisher or a new company acquires the imprint, that the individual jobs themselves are not always stable. So if you're comfortable with risk and with betting on yourself, and you are so passionate that you want to make it your life, then I think you can be really successful. And all the people I know and admire in the business got into it because of how deeply they loved books. But you have to have zero quit in you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a subject that I think about often. And we've just about run out of time, but I'll just add, and you can comment on the current five publishing houses. They're always under threat of being combined, bought by people who don't have a vested interest in publishing, don't have any real knowledge of publishing. I mean, I know it's nothing new. But it makes you wonder sometimes about the survival of literary fiction when you have an owner who's coming in occasionally and just oh, we're only making 12% profit. We need to make 14% profit immediately. Uh, I, you know, I mean, it makes you worry about the survival of literary fiction and literary authors. I mean, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm an optimist that that literary books, literary authors will continue to find ways to survive and to thrive. And maybe at times there will be migrations to smaller presses, to more, mid-sized presses. But I think they will. I'm optimistic about the authors. There's just more volatility when it comes to the editors and the people who, want to do the business, be in the business because of, what you were identifying there, where, well, I mean, let's say Farrar, Straus and Giroux used to be owned by Roger Straus. When you're owned by a person and you're just one little company publishing books, you can make decisions and you can publish a book that you maybe know is not going to be a big seller, but you really want to do it. You think it's important for the company, and you make those decisions. And traditionally, those publishers, when they were on their own, were satisfied with a smaller percentage on the profit, even as they were profitable year over year. The thing that has changed is that none of those, I mean, I think Norton and Grove are the last New York publishers of any size who are independent. Every other imprint is no longer its own. It's all part of, as you say, the big five, some conglomeration, and those are driven by the budgets that the shareholders, are devised every year. And it's always got to be more. And it's hard when there are only so many publishers you can acquire to grow your business. That puts a lot of pressure on meeting that profit. And it also has an effect on the books. I'll give you one example, and then I'll wrap up because I know we're out of time. But it just turns into a sort of winner take all mentality where the middle disappears for books, and you have a handful of enormous blockbusters that everybody's reading, and then all the rest of the books with very few sales. There's less of that conversation going on around the middle about people reading lots of books. And so, for example, last year with James McBride and his novel, The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, I think he's a fabulous writer. I think he's extraordinarily deserving. But just to put this across, that novel in the week before Christmas, when it had been chosen as the Amazon Book of the Year and the Barnes and Noble Book of the Year, sold 71,000 hardcovers in 1 week, just in the lead up to Christmas. That's almost twice as much as even, let's say, All the Light We Cannot See, the Anthony Doerr big seller, sold in its best ever week. So what's happening is that a few books every year are becoming these massive winners. And that's thrilling for McBride. And I'm really happy that people are reading him because he's a really deserving, superb writer. But that is also coming at the expense of, it's not like that many copies are being sold on top of everything else. It's that's happening instead of a lot of other great books that could also be read. And so that's become the model. Is it's got to be a bigger profit margin every year, and it's driven by putting the chips on a few books instead of the many. So it's having a big impact, and publishers don't want to give up the gains that they made during COVID. And so we'll see how it plays out. Time will tell.